We have a new speaker. It's not in the schedule. A chap called Wayne Jervis, who's a sales engineer from Unitrends and Spanning. There he is. Are you Wayne?
I am. I'll just set up.
Set up, yeah. Let's get going as quick as you can.
I will do.
And Wayne's going to talk about top threats and best practices.
Well,
have you changed it?
This was.
It was Wilson's presentation, was it?
Possibly. No, this is slightly changed.
Okay.
And it's a demo, actually. So,
okay, we'll play it by ear.
Play it by ear, yes. And I've just got a couple of slides as well. So this is very short. There you go.
Okay, Evie?
I'm going to share screen, hopefully.
Bingo.
Wonderful. And minimize this very quickly. Literally going to go through 3 slides just to set the context of the demo. Presentation really is around protecting your data everywhere. My name is Wayne Jervis, Senior Pre-Sales Engineer for Unitrends. I've been with the company for 6 years. Been in the industry for about, I don't know, good on 30 years now. Working for different companies, both as a user, worked for MSPs and large vendors as well. So this presentation is about ransomware, but it's only 3 slides just to set the context. And the first slide is really stating that, employees are the targets for ransomware. And they're going to be targeted with phishing attacks, amongst other attacks. And we are really talking about a backup solution that allows you to protect your data and also detect ransomware and malware as part of the protection process. So, ransomware itself avoids detection at times because it's delivered via malware. Once it's on your systems, you'll be backing it up, ultimately, if it hasn't immediately executed and started to encrypt your data. So, what we do see out there in the market is customers who have been infected by malware, their data's been encrypted and they have to recover their data, but they don't know which recovery points they can use to recover their data because the malware's been sitting on their systems for some time, and they have to go through a process of finding recovery points that are malware-free. Yeah? So we can help with that with our solution because we have something called recovery assurance. We can test backups for malware, and we can also detect ransomware attacks in line with our technology, our AI-based technology. Now, clearly, what we're saying here is backups are under attack. So everybody's very comfortable with desktops, laptops, servers being attacked from a malware perspective or ransomware perspective. But these hackers now are essentially going for the backup software as well, or hardware, because they don't want you to be able to recover. They want you to basically pay the ransom. Yeah? So it's a really important concept to understand that Windows-based backup solutions as well are going to be the low-hanging fruit in relation to ransomware attacks from a backup perspective. Linux systems are, again, susceptible, but they're not the low-hanging fruit, so more effort needs to be kind of applied to get to those systems. So we offer essentially physical appliances that can actually back up your data on-premise, replicate to our cloud. When you replicate to our cloud, we provide an immutable copy of your backup, so that backup itself cannot be modified or deleted by a compromised appliance that may be on site. And The other fact as well is that if you're using our technology, we're providing an end-to-end solution. So typically, we will provide an appliance on-premise, replicate data to our cloud, provide disaster recovery services in our cloud for our customers as well, but it's a white glove service. So the customer doesn't have to go through the process of rebuilding or managing disaster recovery for themselves. We can do that for them, which is, again, a value add. And we aim to reduce the costs of, obviously, the solution, the overall cost of managing data protection. So what do we do? Well, the first thing we do is that we try and protect customers' data wherever it resides. So that's our mantra. We want to protect customers' data if it's in the cloud, public cloud, because we can provide virtual appliances to run in the public cloud and protect the workloads. We have SaaS-based solutions that will protect Office 365, protect Salesforce, as well as Google Workspace. And we're going to provide protection for the endpoint with a direct-to-cloud solution as well. So for those roaming users that are outside the office or in a coffee shop, and obviously with the advent of the pandemic as well, we have a lot more users working from home. And rather than having to manage USB drives or alternative methods of protecting data locally for a laptop, we can provide a direct-to-cloud solution that enables customers to protect their endpoints directly to the cloud without having to have any management of storage associated with the desktops and laptops. And we've spoken briefly about the data center as well. And the data center is where we apply the physical appliance, we replicate data to the cloud. Now, we also obviously want to be able to recover as well. And we aim to recover, items, databases, whatever it may be. That's, a given. And the third step that is really important is the automated testing. And the automated testing is where we can actually, on-premise, leveraging virtual infrastructure, test backups for their recoverability, and more importantly, align the business SLAs, which are the RPOs and RTOs, to the services that are within the business. So we're going to validate those backups, check the services, check for ransomware if that's required, and do that in an automated fashion. So we're reducing the operational overhead of testing backups, right? So I'm sure individuals here have had to go through that testing process, and it's been manual, often being asked to, at a short notice, prove that you can recover your backups is not a nice task. So if you can do that in an automated fashion, it creates value. And if you can create reports as well that you can produce and provide to stakeholders, be it auditors, executives, etc., that is, again, very, very important, right? Because everything is about visibility. You want to be able to prove that you can recover your workloads. You want to be able to prove that the workloads don't have malware. We can do that for you. Intelligent alerting engine. We have technology within our solution that allows you to go and check for conditions that may cause backups to fail. So we're very focused on eliminating, moving the roadblocks out of the way so that customers get secure or successful backups the first time round, right? We don't want customers to have failed backups because of common problems that are associated with Windows systems, for example. So our technology will go out, check the actual systems before the backup runs, and if there's an issue, for example, with the SSS, we'll clear that issue so that the backup runs successfully, which means you get your recovery point that you can recover from. Really important as well. And we have, again, a single platform to bring all those three technologies together, which is a SaaS-based backup, endpoint protection, and a data center-based backup. So I'm going to quickly show you in a very short demonstration the solution from a Unitrends perspective. This is the on-premise appliance, and we have something called recovery assurance, which I've spoken about very briefly, which is allowing you to test your RPOs and RTOs. So you can see it's a compliance tile, and if I click on this RPO and RTO compliance, it takes me to a compliance report. It tells me whether I'm meeting my RPO, which is my recovery point objective, or RTO, which is my recovery time objective. And you can see my RPO that I'm testing against is 24 hours. The latest backup cannot be older than 24 hours. If it was older, then essentially this pie chart would be red. And I'm testing against a recovery time objective of 1 hour. So when we spin up the actual workloads, we'll test to make sure that we are meeting those requirements. If we don't, we'll fail the actual test. So in this instance, we've seen that the latest backup is 7 hours and 29 minutes old. So we're less than 24 hours, so it's a good backup, a good recovery point. And the time it took us to recover was 11 minutes, right? So you have your SLAs, you have your services in your business, you have a business conversation with the stakeholders who own those services, and you align the SLAs that you want to test against to prove that you can recover those services in that given time. So this is proof in the pudding. If I click on this job, you can see this is a service. It's a domain controller, an SQL server, and ERP system. Yeah, so that's a service we're testing, and it's telling you the individual RPOs and RTOs that we are actually able to achieve. The other point I'm going to quickly say about this feature is when we do the testing, the important thing to note is that we do the testing as a workflow. We're using something called instant recovery that allows us to recover those systems fairly quickly. But more importantly, we can reconfigure the virtual machines or physical servers when we spin them up, because we can do a P2V. But as you can see, we'll honor the boot order because you'll configure the boot order of the service. So this is all automated. And what you also see is we have inbuilt tests that allow you to test whatever is inside the virtual machine, the application, the service, to make sure it's responding and working. We can ping networks, we can check for malware, but this is about proving that you can recover and that your service is recovering. Yeah? It's not just spinning up a virtual machine or a P2V machine and saying, I see a splash screen and I must be able to recover. It's giving you the tools to prove that what's important is working. Yeah, very important. And at the end, we will essentially send out an RPO and RTO compliance report with this workflow showing you the tests that you've done. Yeah, so it's validating that it was a successful test. If anything fails, it's a red failure, and we tell you what's wrong. If the RPO is not being met, we tell you that the RPO is not being met. If a service has not been started, we tell you that that service has not been started. Yeah, so with regards to disaster recovery, what often happens when disaster recovery is actually done as an exercise is that you tend to have a protracted disaster recovery process because things change in the infrastructure and you don't pick it up, right? So this is giving you quick visibility of that change in the infrastructure. Now, I've got one more thing to show you. How am I doing for time? Nearly run out. All right. The other quick thing I'm going to show you is our UniView platform that allows you to bring these backup products together. Our endpoint protection, our backup solution, and our SaaS-based solution. With our SaaS-based solution for Office 365 and Google Workspace, I can connect directly into this interface or into this product, and we have something called dark web monitoring. So our dark web monitoring allows us to go and find compromised credentials associated with the tenant and present them to you. And these are obviously associated with Office 365 in this instance. But for example, we have Christian, who has been found to have credentials that have been compromised on LinkedIn, Canva, and Bitly. On Canva and Bitly, he's using the same passwords. So, straight off the bat, there's a compromise there, for a hacker. And the other point we're making here as well is that even if we don't find a compromised credential, the fact that, a password, the fact that they are on the dark web, they're going to be attacked, or they're going to be a target of social engineering and phishing attacks. So this gives you the ammunition to go and speak to Christian, make sure he changes his password, give him security 101 training, best practices, etc. But this is an integration we have within our portfolio, which comes from what we call IT Complete, which is a stack that we have that addresses security, auditing, endpoint management, etc. And as a company, we are integrating those solutions to provide low cost. Oh, done.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you for stepping in.
Okay. No, my pleasure.
A good presentation.
Okay.